How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we have a treat. We have Michael Saylor talking with CNBC for over 10 minutes, and they ask him a ton of questions from what happens if you leverage trade. He talks about shorting the market. He talks about why Bitcoin does not trade like a risk-off asset when there's some kind of global worry. He talks about a ton of stuff that people have wondered about for a while. So I'm going to play that clip for you towards the end. But first, if you want to short the market or if you want to long the market or anything like that, you can do that over on MargX. There's a link to this underneath the video. You can get started trading in just a few minutes. You can do it without KYCing, which means you don't have to give out your personal information and you don't need a VPN. You can also trade all different kinds of assets, and they're doing a big Caspa airdrop right now where you can get free Caspa tokens just for trading. So definitely check this out underneath the video. There are also some other links to Blowfin, WEEX, and CoinW. If you want your Bitcoin 2025 ticket, there's a link to that underneath the video as well. Now, like I said, I'll play this for you. I have a longer version of this where he talks to Andrew, Becky, and Joe, where Michael Saylor talks to all of them and talks about all different kinds of situations for Bitcoin and different things that people have been wondering about. But first, this is interesting. I didn't realize this until, I think it was yesterday, that Trump and Harris debate in the next about 24 hours. I think it's tomorrow night. The election is in 57 days. FOMC is in 10 days. We will have some volatility. This is going to be interesting. I don't really imagine that Trump and Harris will talk about Bitcoin. Maybe they'll talk about crypto, but I don't think that's going to be really one of the 10 or 12 things that people need answers on at this debate. Of course, both of these candidates have talked about crypto, and a lot of people in this community feel very strongly about it. Trump did raise a lot of money from crypto investors, specifically Bitcoin investors, so there's always a chance that they could be talking about Bitcoin. USDT dominance. This is something that's really fascinating to look at because we've hit a lot of Bitcoin highs when this USDT dominance touches this line. So back in 2019, we hit a high for Bitcoin right in July, right when USDT dominance was the lowest there of about 11,000. Then USDT dominance went up. The price of Bitcoin went all the way down to $5,000, I think even $3,500 as dominance went up. And then came back down. We went through the pandemic. We saw USDT dominance rise. And this is a bit of an outlier because Bitcoin's price was already kind of like starting to move up around this time. And then USDT dominance went way down and we hit a new high on Bitcoin. This is the first peak of 2021. And then USDT dominance went way up, went from 2% to 5.7%, 5.6%, then went all the way down, second peak for Bitcoin, then went again up during the bear market, then went down and touched this line again, and this is when we topped back in March of 2021. This is just kind of fascinating, isn't it? How well this correlates. I mean, we have a Bitcoin top here, 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 and here. Now, USDT dominance has started to move up, so some people think that maybe we'll go up even higher, but I think we're going to stick around this level and then come back down. It would make sense, or this whole graph going up and to the right makes sense to me because as time goes on, there are a lot of people that just want access to US dollars on the blockchain. And as more and more people get in and out of different cryptos, as time goes on, as there are more and more cryptos in the market, well, they're going to take profits in USDT. So I would not be surprised to see USDT dominance continue to move up and to the right as time goes on, but tapping this line when we hit local highs. And this is something that I'm definitely going to be paying attention to because if we start coming down close and Bitcoin's racing up, I think it would make sense probably to take some profits. Let me know your thoughts on that though underneath the video. It is freaky how well that correlates. Now I want to play this clip for you from Michael Saylor. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. I'll just play it through. And then at the end of the video, again, if you want to trade cryptocurrency, there's that link to MargX. But let's play it here for you.
Let's take a look at crypto prices this morning. You can see 55,000 now. Joining us, Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy Executive Chairman. You never stop adding to the position of your company, and you have a lot of courage because there's been a lot of major swings in the past, and there were times when I was worried. Can you tell me, were you ever close to margin calls? Anything ever happening to MicroStrategy?
Well, when Silvergate Bank failed, we had to redeem that, but it turned out to be a benefit for us. We made a lot of money on that redemption. We repaid our Silvergate loan. But it's been a great journey. Since August 10th of 2020, MicroStrategy has bought about $8.3 billion worth of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's up 44% a year on average since then. The S&P is up 12%. And since we levered it, we're up 825%. The number one performing stock in the S&P is NVIDIA, up 821% as of Friday. So we beat every single company in the S&P index using a Bitcoin strategy.
Does MicroStrategy now do anything else?
We still run the software business, and it's generally a cash cow for us. But our primary business is a Bitcoin development company. So what we're doing is we're securitizing Bitcoin. We're selling convertible bonds for people that don't want the full volatility and all the risk of Bitcoin. Some people want 150% risk, right? So some people want highly levered equity, and they trade the options. And so we have a very big, deep, rich options market. We've got high performance equity, and then we've basically pioneered the Bitcoin-backed bond market by issuing all of these convertible bonds that are backed by 5x more Bitcoin collateral.
Has anything changed in terms of, you think, the investor class that's investing in your stock versus now investing, for example, in an ETF? Obviously, one is more levered than the other.
Yeah, if you're investing in the ETF, you're getting one-for-one performance, paying 25 basis point fee, no yield. When we issue a $1 billion convertible bond paying 1% interest, we're capturing a 50% premium or 50% type BTC yield on that up front, and then we capture another yield on the back end. So if what you wanted was a sort of a tax-deferred yield on your asset, or you wanted to tap into the convertible bond market, like if you wanted to borrow $1 billion for a percent,
right,
buy Bitcoin with it, hold it for 7 years, you can't do that as an individual, but MicroStrategy can do it.
What have you made? Right now, I think I just saw a headline that $1.2 billion in outflows took place out of the Bitcoin ETF. And I'm curious, sir, what you think is going on with the impact of the ETF on the price of Bitcoin.
I think generally it's been a good thing, and it's created more demand. But you got to keep in mind that Bitcoin is smart, fast, strong money. So on a Saturday night, if you're worried about a missile strike, you can't teleport your $10 million apartment to Singapore, lever it up 10 to 1, and short $100 million worth of New York real estate. But you can short $100 million worth of Bitcoin by borrowing $10 million. So you have a lot of fast money traders, a lot of volatility, and that will cause and ripple into volatility in the ETFs.
Can you explain
this? That's okay.
Can you explain this, though? You know, one of the things you just talked about, if there was a missile strike or something, there was a sense that people talked about this as digital gold. And maybe you still think that's the case, but it often doesn't act like digital gold in the midst of a missile strike.
Yeah, it's the most liquid, fungible, free capital market in the world. Your New York apartment's not fungible. It's not liquid. I can't panic sell it. So when there's a short-term panic, Bitcoin is trading really, really hard.
It's supposed to be the opposite?
Over the long term, it's up 44% a year every year, and you either get 12% from the S&P with VIX vol, or you take 3x the vol to get 44%. So over the long term, if you're an investor, it's going to be great because it's strong capital. Over the near term, if you're a trader, you get lots of arbitrage opportunities.
Is it a non-correlated asset people can count on, or is it just a risk-on?
You know, in the near term, whoever's got the most money can decide whether it correlates or non-correlates. It's like, again, I can lever it up 20 to 1 on Saturday night, and I can trade it long or short.
Hey, Michael, just the whole idea of leverage in something that is admittedly so volatile causes some people some real concern. I mean, I'm far more conservative. I would be worried about that. What's the worst case scenario of something that would happen in a leveraged situation like that with the Bitcoin ETF?
I think what happens is people offshore trading on Binance with 20-to-1 leverage get wiped out on Saturday night when there's a potential missile scare. And so they're the degenerate crypto traders. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, what you want is a free, open capital market. Everybody can trade it any way they want. And so if you're going to hold it for more than 4 years, you're going to get superior performance with that volatility.
Gensler, with all we've seen, and I wonder what you think. Do you have anecdotal evidence exactly what he's thinking in terms of Bitcoin regulation? Given that do you think he's done the 100 hours that you said need to be done to understand it? And if so, what do you attribute the? I don't know. He's been unable to stop it because of the courts, really, but he certainly tried. What do you attribute that to?
You know, I think this administration's been fairly conservative in their embrace of the crypto economy.
Right.
They want to go slow, carefully, deliberately.
But do they want to go, or do they not want to go?
Well, before Gensler entered office, the rhetoric was even more controversial. After Gensler entered office, you heard Jerome Powell, Christina Lagarde, Gary Gensler all say Bitcoin is a speculative digital asset. And that was actually a move forward. With the approval of the ETFs, it was the second move forward. I think clearly we're all waiting for big banks, bulge bracket banks, to start to custody and hold Bitcoin. That'll be the third big shoe to drop.
Do you think that the election matters, and do you believe that Donald Trump is more Bitcoin friendly than a Biden and Harris?
Well, there's no doubt the Republicans are taking a very pro-crypto stance.
Republicans or Trump?
Well, Trump.
And you believe it? You don't believe he's
in particular?
Yeah.
There's a tension between the 21st century and the 20th century. In the 20th century, company comes public. It cost $100 million in 4 years to go public. I know I did it in '98. In the 21st century, I can create a public crypto token in 4 hours for $100. So you have 100 million companies that want to be publicly trading an asset 1 million times cheaper, faster. That's the crypto economy. The traditional economy is you take 4 years, you spend $20 million a year on compliance. And I think that the two sides are talking past each other. But clearly, the future is faster, smarter, stronger.
I mean, you know what Senator Elizabeth Warren thinks about Bitcoin. I mean, if she becomes I've seen her, big jobs.
The political winds have shifted, and I would say that, at this point, the Republicans have shifted to way progressive, and the Democrats are drifting to the middle.
In terms of Bitcoin?
In terms of their view toward crypto and Bitcoin.
And let's say that it is a continuation of the Biden-Harris administration. Does Gensler take on a larger role? It becomes even more difficult?
That's all above my pay grade. What I would say is my view is...
Would you be Treasury Secretary? I mean...
You buy Bitcoin, you hold it for more than 4 years, Joe. That's my advice to everybody.
For anyone, buy it and hold it for more than 4 years. And then you think eventually it takes how much, let's say it is digital gold, what percentage of gold's market cap does it finally?
Bitcoin's 0.1% of the capital in the world right now. I think it's going to go to 7% of the capital.
7%?
My long-term forecast is it's going to go to 13 million over 21 years.
13 million.
13 million, but what is it 5 years from now? In your 4-year calculus?
It's been growing 44% a year with about a 40 to 50 vol. I would think it'll move on at 40%, then click down to 35, then 30, then 25, and at some point it'll be the S&P return plus 8%, and it'll be the S&P vol plus 8% because it's always going to be a more global, open, free capital market.
How is there stuff that's above your pay grade? You're worth billions. I mean, we can say that it's above our pay grade, but who gets to decide if it's above your pay grade?
He might have been it's below his pay grade.
Right, exactly.
Bitcoin's an expression in this view that you want to invest in an asset without counterparty risk, which means you don't want to be counterparty to a country, a currency, a city, a company, a commodity, or a culture, right? So people think it's a risky thing. It's all about people wanting to not take risk. They don't want to guess whether Picasso's or real estate in New York or NVIDIA stock will be higher in 10 years. They want to buy money. They want to buy 1/21 millionth of all the money in the world forever.
End it there, Michael. Thank you.
Great. Michael, thank you.
Now, let me know what you think about this. I love listening to Michael Saylor. I feel quite inspired. I'd be quite happy with a $13 million Bitcoin. Now, I know he talks about, Binance 20x leverage getting wrecked on a Saturday night. Of course, you can put stop losses and take profits and that kind of thing. If you want to do that, if you want to trade maybe just 5x, again, there's that link to Margex, going all the way up to 100x. I like to use it as not quite so much a hedge, but like its own thing, right? So if I see some pattern breakout, like here, right? We broke out of this channel. You could go long, boom, take profit. Up here where we would see resistance from the previous support. I did several of these trades last week. One was just over a few minutes with a very high collateral amount and lower leverage. Did great, took profits. Another one was with much higher leverage. I think I was on 50x leverage, but lower collateral amount. And I actually shorted it. When we went against the resistance line for the third time, shorted it, it went down, made a good amount of money there. Not right for everyone, but if you want to try it out, there's that link underneath the video. Let me know what you think about this market. The market is moving up a little bit. That's nice to see. Bitcoin up in the 55s again instead of 52.5. I got within a few dollars actually. Literally, you can see it here. The limit order. I made a classic mistake where I put it right at 52,500 instead of 52,010 or something like that, or 52,000 or 52,510, 52,600, something like that. This was a previous support line or resistance. I forgot exactly which, but yeah, just a classic mistake there. Could have nailed the bottom, but it's nice to see Bitcoin moving up. There will be some interesting things happening. We have CPI and PPI this week too, so be on the lookout for those. Thank you so much. Let me know if you made it this far in the video by leaving maybe a little fire emoji down below in the comment section. Thanks so much. I'll see y'all in the